Robot Vietnam has fallen. A major order to defend against the automatons was failed. And now, even after a victory on Veld, the Terminids are pushing hard to inch one step closer to humanity's homeworld.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
How about a nice cup of liberty?
This series of defeats and victories amounts to a turbulent time for Helldivers 2 fans, but this will only embolden them. It's difficult to think of any game in recent memory that has united a player base quite like Helldivers 2 has. The fight to push back alien front lines has captured people's imagination in such a way that it's generated memes, camaraderie, and, most importantly, loyalty. A loyalty that has spread, bringing in new troops for the war effort day after day. But what's the secret behind this cultural phenomenon? Well, aside from just being a bloody good game, it's the Dungeons and Dragons of it all. Developer Arrowhead has made a galactic-scale RPG, and everyone wants a seat at the table.
You have been a sober line of wrinkle. Extract when ready. Making progress.
At first glance, it's easy to compare Helldivers 2's dynamically shifting front lines to those seen in PlanetSide 2, Sony's cult 2012 shooter. There certainly are broad similarities. The actions of Helldivers players contributes to the liberation percentage of planets across the galaxy. If the community successfully completes enough missions on a given planet, it falls under the control of Super Earth. Liberate every planet in a sector, and the galaxy's front line can be reshaped. This overall goal, to push back the eastern and western fronts, plagued by the robot automatons and insectoid terminids respectively, is made surprisingly engaging by the way your contributions help push forward day-to-day changes to the big picture. The small, dynamic shifts within this sure-to-be-long waging war creates a sense of authenticity. Just days ago, the planet Malevolent Creek, best known as Robot Vietnam, fell to the automatons. Arrowhead made it inaccessible, essentially turning off Helldivers 2's fan-favorite map for multiple hours in the name of storytelling.
We've lost access to the Severin sector, meaning we can no longer attack Malevolent Creek.
It comes alongside the recently failed major order that formed the first significant piece of narrative. The automatons made a 2-week-long push towards Super Earth, and stalwart defense was required. Unfortunately, not enough players successfully contributed to the war effort, and just 6 of the required 8 planets were successfully defended.
We've officially lost the defense campaign on Ingmar and have failed the major order. This is a huge hit to Super Earth.
But while the community failed, the event certainly created an authentic sense of urgency that could be felt across social media. The fact that it did this is sort of remarkable. The reward for completing the major order was just 12,500 requisition slips, something that can be easily earned in a few hours of regular play. It's a sum that's barely worth the effort, and yet thousands were dedicated to the cause. And so it's clear, people don't care because of the reward, they care because they have completely bought into the Helldivers fantasy. In short, they're role-playing. That's not a side effect of Helldivers gameplay and lore. It's intentional. Arrowhead may not have foreseen the colossal success that Helldivers 2 has turned out to be, but it always intended to craft Dungeons & Dragons-influenced unfolding storylines. So much so that it literally employs a full-time dungeon master. Talking to PC Gamer, Arrowhead CEO Johan Pilestedt revealed that a man named Joel is in charge of managing Helldivers' meta-narrative. We have a lot of systems built into the game where the game master has a lot of control over the play experience. It's something that we're continuously evolving based on what's happening in the game, and as part of the roadmap, there are things that we want to keep secret because we want to surprise and delight. Of course, role-playing games like D&D are designed for just a handful of players, but Pilestedt explained that the ideas that power tabletop games can be scaled up to galactic proportions. It's the same format when you build that for millions of players. It's just that you can't get as personal with every individual, he said. But you can still do the same twists and turns. That much is already clear. Many expected the failure of the recent major order to result in the automatons pushing forward a sector. Instead, a Terminid hive erupted in the Orion sector and seized the planet Veld. It was an unexpected twist, but it's also the work of a skilled game master.
The Terminids have launched an attack on Veld and are pushing hard towards our home.
The replacement major order only required players to reclaim this single planet, and players did so well before the timer ran out. Arrowhead recognised that players struggled with the challenge of the previous event, and so tailored the second to make it much more achievable. As a good GM knows, never put your players through hell twice in a row. This global reactivity creates something truly compelling, a sense of authorship that's owned by both the developer and the players. That ownership breeds commitment, which in turn forges community. The result is hundreds of thousands of Helldivers ready to fight tooth and nail against bugs and bots.
Say hello to democracy!
Like in the world of tabletop RPGs, the story takes on a life of its own outside of the game. But where in D&D that manifests as in-jokes shared between the friends that play together, with Helldivers it has become a wide-reaching online phenomenon. Social media has been flooded by memes that mourn the loss of planets and riff on the PTSD experienced by players serving on the automaton planets. On TikTok, a channel called Super Earth Broadcast does daily war updates in the guise of propaganda videos. This Starship Troopers-like format has been copied by a number of other creators, while others provide more casual yet still enthusiastic analysis of the shifting fronts. This is all evidence of just how much players have committed to the bit. Of course, none of this would be possible without the fantastic shooter that lies beneath the galactic war. The RPG of it all may be the secret sauce, but that condiment is reliant on the main dish being a satisfying meal. Helldivers 2's fundamentals keep things consistently fun. There's no arduous grind to get the best gear, with new stratagems coming as part of a steady progression system. Multiple difficulty settings allow each mission to be tailored to taste. Will today be a casual bug hunt, or a death-defying drop into Terminator territory? And on the ground, the actual mechanics of being a Helldiver are great. This is a genuinely terrific co-op shooter. But it's the Galactic War meta-story that elevates it beyond its mechanical brilliance. Everyone is unified against the enemies of Super Earth. Who knew that role-playing meat for the Imperial Grinder could be so much fun? For more from Helldivers 2, check out our review and our essential tips for spreading managed democracy. And for everything else, stick with IGN.